Okay, I think we'll get going. It's been a few minutes. I don't see anybody else entering the meeting, but people may come in as we're going. So good afternoon and welcome to this virtual neighborhood meeting regarding the upcoming Manchester Avenue Potable Pipeline project. We appreciate your time in joining with us and learning about this important project for your community. My name is Jason Hubbard. I'm the engineering manager for the Olivenhain Municipal Water District. Joining with me is my colleague Karen Agawa. She is the engineering project administrator. Also like to take a moment to welcome Director Watt, who has been gracious enough to join us in today's meeting. Also want to introduce Olivenhain's General Manager Kim Thorner, Assistant General Manager Joey Randall, and our Customer Services Manager John Carnegie. They are all on the line with us today. As we get started, wanted to take a moment to note that this meeting is being recorded. It will be available on our website for future reference. If you missed something, if you want to go back and take a look at it, that will be available once this is ended. At the end of the presentation, we will be addressing any questions that come in via our chat room. Feel free to send those in as the presentation goes through, and we will pick that up at the end. And we will also take live questions if you have any at the end. So before we get to the details of the project, I did want to start off by giving you a little bit of background on the Olivenhain Municipal Water District. So if you're curious where your water comes from when you turn on your tap handle, I'm happy to introduce you to your water district. We're celebrating 61 years. We've been in business since 1959, ever since residential demands outpaced the supply for the area. If you know your history, of course, it was originally farming. A little bit about what we do. We treat up to 34 million gallons of potable water per day. We serve over 86,000 people in our service area. That's 48 square miles. We recycle up to 2 million gallons of wastewater per day, and that helps us reduce potable drinking water for landscapes and irrigation. From our treatment plant, we generate hydroelectricity, and that helps to reduce our operational costs. We also provide recreational and educational opportunities at our Elven Forest Recreational Reserve. If you've ever had a chance to get out there, I recommend it. It's a wonderful place. It's actually been closed since March due to obvious reasons, but is opening this Monday, I believe. We also research alternate sources of water, such as local brackish water desal and potable reuse. We're always looking to improve, whether it's diversify our water supply portfolio, look for cost-effective measures on the projects we're building, or interacting with the public. We're always trying to improve that experience. So here's a graphic on your screen just so you can orientate yourself on the area that we do serve. Like I said, 48 square miles. We cover the cities of San Marcos, portions of the city of San Marcos, Carlsbad, Encinitas, San Diego, and Solana Beach. Very geographically diverse, all the way from the coast to pretty close to the I-15 in the east. So speaking of potable water, which is what this project is about, like I said, we do treat 34 million gallons of water each day. Got some photos there on the right. That's our David C. McCollum Water Treatment Plant. It's located off of Harmony Grove, right below the County Water Authority's Olivenhain Reservoir. We have over 466 miles of pipeline. We convey our drinking water to all our customers. At our treatment plant, we do allow for the local treatment of raw water, and we feel that's a less expensive than purchasing treated water, and we feel that's a benefit to our ratepayers. We also have 17 water storage reservoirs. It gives us a capacity of nearly 80 million gallons of water. And our customers, like I said, our customers primarily receive locally treated water, but we do have the ability to connect and bring treated water into our system if the need arises. Okay, so that's a little bit about who we are. Moving on to the specifics of this project, the Manchester Avenue Potable Water Pipeline Project. Just to give you a short background on this project, the district does take a very proactive approach in how we manage and maintain our pipeline system. And this helps us reduce water loss, saves money, and reduces customer impacts from line breaks and emergency shutdowns. I'm sure you've seen those on the news from time to time. This particular section of pipe was installed in 1961, and if you were around back in 2016, we had fairly significant break at the intersection. It was a pretty impactful to our customers and costly for the district. And at that time, we determined that this pipeline had reached the end of its lifespan, and then we did begin pretty quickly thereafter designing the replacement. So that design is nearing completion. We hope to have here completed in the next few months, and then we will move on to the construction phase. We're anticipating right now that construction will begin in the fall. I don't have an exact date, but as that draws closer, we will update our website and you can get that information there. Once we bring a contractor on board, we do anticipate the construction to take about 9 months to complete. Okay, you've got a graphic there on the right, and that kind of shows you a little bit of the pipelines that we're going to be installing and the limits on the streets. That blue line represents the limits of the new pipeline. This project will install about 1,200 feet south on Manchester down near Colony Terrace, heading west about 400 feet of 12-inch pipe on Encinitas Boulevard, short stretch north into Rancho Santa Fe Road, only 150 feet, and then extending east on South Rancho Santa Fe Road, about 900 feet of 8-inch pipe. Give you another view of that. It's actually a screenshot from our plans, and the highlighted sections there in green, again, kind of shows you the limits of the impact of this project. Again, heading south from the intersection, our work goes about 200 feet south of Denk Lane, if you're familiar with that street, heading west up to, along Encinitas Boulevard, up to McCain Lane. Again, a short stretch up there to the north, where right in front of the 7-Eleven, and then heading east on South Santa Fe Road. We pretty much stop near there at the entrance to Grangetto's and BJ Rentals, if you're familiar with those businesses. If anybody has specific questions and wants to see a little bit more zoomed in, it's hard for me to zoom in on this, but if somebody's interested in exactly what's happening in front of that property, go ahead and reach out to us and we can give you a screenshot, share you the plan, the page from the plan set. More than happy to provide you that information. Okay. So we always try to collaborate with agencies as best as possible as funding and schedule allows. We work very closely with the City of Encinitas. They did approach us about some permanent striping plans that they're doing. If you look at the photo, I'm going to show you my cursors. The city did implement some striping improvements in this area. They did bring in 2 left-hand turn lanes for southbound Rancho Santa Fe onto eastbound South Rancho Santa Fe Road, and that was something that they looked at to improve traffic flow in the intersection. There's some additional striping that's going to occur, again, if you can see my cursor in this area. We're going to work with the city to incorporate that into this plan. It may happen before then, really up to the city and timing, but again, we're working with them on that. This project does qualify as exempt under CEQA and is also exempt from the city under their coastal development permit. And that's primarily because this is a replacement project. So we're not increasing capacity, we're not extending pipe, we are just replacing the old pipe that, again, has reached the end of its lifespan. This is a phased project, so customers will be affected in sections, not all at once. This is an interesting area. You've got a mix of commercial and residential, but basically what's going to happen is the contractor is going to build the new pipeline, will then, after that's tested and approved, will then connect to the existing pipeline. Those shutdowns typically take about 4 to 8 hours, and then once the new pipeline is activated, they will work on switching customers over, and those switchovers typically take 30 minutes to an hour at a time. That's generally how shutdowns occur. It is very dynamic and it is subject to the contractor that we're working with, and as we get a schedule from them, get them on board, we will share that information via our website. So a lot of the questions that we get regarding these projects, of course, is what's the impact to the neighborhood? As I mentioned, shutdowns are typically one of the big questions. Turning off your water, of course, is a big concern, certainly in these days that we live in. Typically, we require a 48-hour shutdown notice, but on this particular project, the contractor is actually required to give 72 hours notice to a customer who's going to be shut down or may have low water pressure. Just to give you a peek behind the scenes, just so you know, the contractor actually has to work with the district, and we give them a 2-week time frame. So they're working with us, making sure that plan is in place, everything's been identified, material in place, and then once we know that, it's scheduled, and then again, then the customer notifications go out. And that's kind of how the water shutdowns occur. One of the big things on this project, one of the big impacts, of course, is traffic. So working with the city of Encinitas, they're requesting, because of the fact that this is a very busy intersection, you got 4 major arterials confluencing here, they are requesting that we work nighttime hours, and that's a 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So with that time frame for the work hours, a lot of that traffic and access issues are going to go away. It does bring up some other issues, but that traffic is always one of the biggest issues that these type of projects face. Because we are also working in the city right-of-way, they do have jurisdiction, so we really lean to them to help us make those decisions, because that affects, again, the flow of traffic for their streets. When we do begin the work and the contractor has his traffic control measures in place, we're always looking to identify areas that may be a problem. So it's very dynamic. We will be able to make those decisions in the field. We will have a full-time construction manager and inspector working on this project, and they'll be able to identify, working with the city's inspectors as well, to problem solve if there's some access issues or there's some queuing up that's going on. But again, because we're working at night, don't expect too many of those problems. This contractor, there is traffic control plans as part of our package that the city reviews. So we're all kind of on the same page as far as lane shutdowns and detours. But the contractor, once we get them on board, they'll also have to go through an approval process with the city. Back up real quick. I know one of the questions that does come up is about access. So, you know, can I get into my business? Can I get into my driveway? And I can tell you that the contractor is required to keep access at all times. And there's various ways that they do that. Logistically, it's just that we have traffic plates. So if they're actively working in front of your driveway, they'll be able to move a traffic plate over and get you in and out. Again, you'll have access to our inspector, so you can call them and say, hey, I need to leave, or preferably, hey, I'm going to leave in an hour. Can you make sure that I have access? So that will happen. And of course, again, that's at night. So we expect, we hope that that's pretty limited. But during the day, when people are moving around, getting kids to school, going to doctor's appointment, going to work, those trenches will be secured, either backfilled or with the traffic plate over it, and so you won't have those access issues. So just wanted to mention that since we're talking about traffic. So that's one of the benefits of working at night, is that a lot of those traffic impacts go away. We do have the challenge at working at night, is that you have light and noise issues to deal with. So the project team did meet with the Rancho Santa Fe Road Task Force several months ago, and one of the issues they brought up was the issue with light, and it was a really great comment, and we've taken note of that, and we are going to require that the contractor shield whatever lighting equipment they use, so it's really focused on the work area and you don't get that bleed out into the properties adjacent to. So that's one of the mitigation measures that we're going to take. Another issue, of course, is noise. This is a open trench construction. The nature of that work is just inherently has noise associated with it. The good news is the contractor should be installing about 100 feet or more per night. So the project does really move along the corridor. It's not like they're parking next to you and building a house for 9 months. So that it's a very fluid construction project. And so hopefully if there is noise, it will be moving away for you within a week or so as they progress. One of the biggest complaints about noise is the backup alarms. So if you've ever been around a construction site or heard that piercing beeping sound that happens when the equipment backs up, it really just radiates out into the neighborhood. It's very distracting. It's very annoying. So what the district does is we require the contractors, as well as our own vehicles, to have a white noise backup alarm. And I'm going to play you a short video clip. But this is a really great technology. It's very safe. It focuses the noise behind the vehicle. So that's giving protection to the workers or anyone passing by. But also that white noise doesn't have that radiating distraction. Again, it's very focused in that area. So I'm going to play you a short clip. Hopefully you've got your speakers up and can hear this. Maybe let's try it again. Here we go. So a very unique sound, but very effective for safety and or just a really great measure to mitigate the noise from our construction projects. All right, so that concludes the presentation. I'm gonna see if there's any comments coming in, and I actually do not see any chat comments. If you do have a comment, feel free to chat now. Or I will put on my grid so I can see everyone. Zoom has thank you for the smile. Zoom has a great function where you can raise your hand or give a thumbs up to notify us if you have a question, or you can just simply wave.
I think you did have someone with their hands up, JRH.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hey, I appreciate the presentation. I actually emailed you earlier, and I saw you emailed me back. I haven't had a chance to look it over yet. So
okay.
I appreciate you getting back to me. So it's a dynamic area, as you mentioned. We have, which causes a lot of conflicts that we've had with the city already and other issues. So we're on the edge of a commercial area and a residential. My house, along with several others here, are really close to the roadway. And we have a really narrow roadway that's unimproved without sidewalks. And it worries me a lot that we're going to have construction going on in the middle of the night. I've got 2 young kids, and I got to tell you that I'm losing my shit right now with the closures and the kids being stuck at home. So if I have kids that can't sleep during the night, I'm going to be very grumpy. So is there a way that we can work? I understand that the intersections are a major thoroughfare, and this is something that you want to do at night. Is there a way that we can do things in the residential area to reduce noise during the day and maybe restrict traffic on Manchester? Manchester is already an overburdened street, which is failing traffic and is not being currently enforced properly, and actually has a lot of issues with oversized vehicles using the route that are not allowed here. So it would be maybe a good thing to close the road down to local traffic only, and then get the work done during the day, and perpetually, get people to come off of this route, and maybe change that overall mindset, and then keep the residents happy because we're not having construction noise outside of our house all night long.
Yeah, I did get your email, and I appreciate that. We did take a look at that. Did send you a response. In fact, actually, Karen and I were looking today at basically that same thing. Can you look at doing the work in the residential area, and then as you move closer to the intersection, switch to night? Unfortunately, because of the taper lengths that are required when you shift, when you close a lane or push people over, your taper lengths are going to extend up into those intersections, and then, as you can imagine, you get a domino effect of people getting backed up. So I don't think that's a real safe option for us. But I will reach out to the city. I did get your comments. I will reach out to them and talk to them. Again, they sort of dictate a lot of what we can and cannot do. And I will work with them and see what they're open to. In your
Yeah.
particular location, the work is actually going to be occurring across the street from you. So not right in
Okay.
front of your house, but actually that new pipe will be across the street. Hopefully that's a little bit better as far as, equipment idling or, cutting that asphalt right in front of you. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's always a balance, John, as we look at night and day work. Traffic flow is a big concern for the city, as you know, in your specific area, and we'll see what they're open to. So
Yeah.
I've reached out to you. I'm happy to take this offline with you, and we can communicate and see what's available. Does that sound
No,
good?
That sounds good. Thank you, Jason, for considering this. We're sensitive because we've been dealing as residents here with the city for a while. We've had a lot of near fatal accidents on a regular basis in front of our house. And I'm just worried about the situation with adding.
Was that during the day or night?
During the day.
I'm not joking, but that's.
No,
and that lends itself to the issues that we find. One of the advantages of working at night is that you can work a lot faster, which goes a little bit against conventional thinking because it's at night, it's dark, there's hazards, there's drunk driving, those things you have to worry about. But in the daytime, believe it or not, people get queued up, you get road rage, you get minor fender benders, people start ignoring the traffic signs, cutting into traffic zones. It's a whole different set of challenges, and it's really trying to balance those impacts. So definitely appreciate your impact, and we'll be getting back to you once I hear back from the city. Sound good?
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think I see really one other person from the public. The Swansons, I see. Hello. Any other questions? Okay, well, the good news is this is being recorded, so if you wanted to refer back to it, you certainly can. Our contact information is there. Feel free to reach out to us if this ends and you think, oh, I forgot to ask something about, I don't know, how am I going to get my kids to school at the school there at the corner, or what's going on with some other related projects in the area. Reach out to us and we'll get back to you. Okay? Okay, I see a goodbye from the Swansons. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your time. All right, everyone? Anything from anybody else? Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you very much.